Welcome to NGS, where we dive into my hobbies, such as knives? Yeah. Now I know what you're thinking. Hey, NGS, don't you usually only do like playing card showcases? And yeah, this is true, but my channel is not just a playing card channel, it's my hobbies, hence the intro. Welcome to NGS, where we dive into my hobbies, such as... So I can't be, pigeonholed into one specific thing. I am a big fan of knives, I collect knives, and I carry knives. As often as I do playing cards, even more often even. There are times when I don't have cards, but I got a knife in my pocket. So I've had the idea of showing a video of my rotation of playing cards, and I figured if I'm gonna do videos on rotations, then I'm gonna do a video on my knife rotation, meaning knives that I carry throughout the week. I rotate my knives like I do my playing cards. So I don't really want to get into the nitty-gritty of like knives and steel types and sharpness and types of locks and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get a lot of that out of the way now. When it comes to the steel of a knife, they usually have the name of it on the knife. In this case, this one right here is CPM S30V. And if the knife doesn't have a steel written on it, most likely it's not a good knife. Or you'll see like usually 420C, 420B, that's like basic steel that you can just buy for cheap. Also, not a good steel. Instead of getting into the, knife snob realm of knives, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that there are 4 things that you have to look for in the steel. And as I show you the knife, I'll tell you what it is, and probably right down here, I will put a little chart that shows you what exactly the steel comes with, or what is its strengths. Now the 4 things that you're looking for when you're buying a knife is edge retention, toughness, corrosion resistance, and ease of sharpening, which is directly proportional to the edge retention. Edge retention meaning how long the knife stays sharp before you have to resharpen it, and obviously if it has a really high edge retention, then it's going to have a really low ease of sharpening. There are some knives that break that, and I'm not going to get into that. If you want a video about that, let me know down in the comments below. Anyway, when you get to the toughness of a blade, that is how much flex it has before the steel will break. And it also refers to if the knife will bend before it breaks and how much it'll bend, like the flexibility of a knife. In some cases you want a really tough knife, in some cases you really don't. And then the last one, probably one of the things that people don't really care about until it happens, is corrosion resistance, meaning how long the knife will go before it rusts. And there are preventative measures that are made to obviously prevent that, and that being this DLC coating, which is a black coating they put on the knife to keep it from getting in contact with water and, rusting. And quite a few of my knives that I'm going to show you today have DLC coating. Now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into my rotation. I'm going in no particular order besides like the maker. Some of these have the same makers, so that's what I'm doing. Starting off with this one right here. This is a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. You can tell by this logo that it's a Spyderco. And I'm showing you this brand first because this is my favorite knife brand, the best knife brand in my opinion. They have many options of steel types, many options of, knives and comfortability, and depending on what you're looking for in a knife, they probably have it. And this is one of my go-to knives, as in if I don't have a knife in my pocket and I have to grab one of these, it is this one right here. Now what you'll notice is Spyderco have a giant hole on the blade that's for you to deploy the knife with. In this case, I Spidey flick the knife open. You can slow roll it open. You can thumb flick it open. You can Spidey drop, where you grab the blade like this and just let the momentum and weight carry it down, the gravity. And this knife is super comfortable. You can hold it on the handle just like this, and you have a little nice patch for your thumb to go on. With this jimping right here, your thumb just perfectly slides in there and it will not slide. And then you have this finger choil up here where you can put your finger up higher and put your thumb on the blade if you need to do some more precision cutting. Very nice, very thin blade. This is a flat grind, meaning from the edge of the steel all the way to the edge of the blade, it's just one straight line. Some of these knives are hollow grind, which means that as it starts from here and works its way to the blade, the grind will hollow out, so it'll curve in to make it thinner faster. Flat grinds are better for slicing. Hollow grinds are better for longer lasting. These kind of knives are really just meant to be really sharp, and as you sharpen it, the edge stays the same, width. With a flat grind, as you sharpen the knife, it'll get more and more thicker at the edge. This knife also has a compression lock, which means that there's a metal bar here that you push into the handle, and as the blade opens up, there's a little hole inside the middle of the pivot, and once the hole reaches the frame, or I guess liner technically, the liner will sink into it, keeping it from opening. So to, close the blade, you push this down and it slides closed. Compression lock. So the steel on this one, as I said before, is CPM S30V. You'll see it pop up right here, what the strengths and weaknesses are of that steel. That's kind of the basic generic steel you'll get with most knives. If you buy just a normal, flagship model, is usually S30V. Benchmade have S30V for their generic models. I think that's changing now, which is a good thing. I'm getting tired of seeing S30V, but it's not a bad steel. Alright, moving on to the next one. Another Spyderco. This one right here is the Spyderco Shaman. It is a much more hefty knife. This one's designed more for heavy, hard use, versus this one, which is like an EDC everyday carry knife. This is not what the handles come with. These are aftermarket. This is all titanium. Very nice. It is also a compression lock. Right here is the liner you push in to close it, and that's the liner that pops into the hole in the pivot. I 3D printed a little piece to add here to make it easier, but I haven't done that with this one yet. And there's the Spidey hole that all Spydercos come with. Very nice, and it's a very comfortable handle, as is the case with most Spyderco knives. Again, you can hold it by the handle down here, and you have jimping right here also to keep your thumb from sliding. And you also have a finger choil up here, again, as well, to climb higher and do more precision cuts. The steel on this one is, again, CPM S30V. Like I said, the go-to models will always have CPM S30V. Very cool looking knife. This one is pretty heavy, but they're usually not. It's only heavy because of the titanium handles. It is a flat grind, just like most Spydercos are. And yeah, alright, on to the next one. On to a new company. This right here is a Microtech knife, as you can tell by the branding right here, Microtech. This is a stitch Ram-Lok. It also has a deployment hole, but it's not round. Spyderco, I don't think they have a patent, or I don't think they have that copyrighted or trademarked, but most knife companies avoid it anyway. So they try and get creative. In this case, we have like this little circle that turns into a long boy. And it's perfect for you getting your finger in there to Spidey flick it or thumb flick it, so on and so forth. The handle material on this one is G10. Feels very rough and kind of like clothing. This right here is also G10, but this is very smooth, which is kind of a bad thing when you have a knife. The last thing you need is to slide up and down and cut yourself. But the beauty of this knife, the stitch Ram-Lok, is this giant finger choil here. So you can hold it like normal, but nobody holds it like this, I'll be honest with you. Here's the jimping to keep your thumb from sliding. People hold it up here in the choil like this. And it's so deep that you're not gonna slide into the blade on accident. But this is the first model they had. They've had some updates to it, and now the G10 that they add with it is not smooth anymore. But yeah, Borka is this brand right here is Borka. That's the guy's name who designed this knife. I love his designs. This knife is really good. His knives are usually very expensive, in like the $600, $700, and could go up to like the $2,000 mark. But him and Microtech teamed together to make a production one, which is this one, and it's very affordable. I mean, in the realm of knives, it's very affordable. The original take of this was a auto, meaning there's a button here, you hit the button and it flies open, then you hold the button and you drop it. This is the Ram-Lok version. It's a manual, meaning there is nothing pushing the knife open for you, no assistance. This is a axis lock. Benchmade kind of invented that, but after I think 2020, the patent ended, so everybody could use this design, and everyone started making their own version of it. And this right here is Microtech's version of it. This big piece of metal gets pushed into the pivot right there through the spring, and it holds it in place and keeps it from going anywhere. This is a very stiff knife. It ain't going anywhere and you will not accidentally cut yourself with it. And to close it, pull it down and it will release the blade. The steel on this one is M390 right here. In this case, M390 MK meaning Microtech knives. They teamed up with Crucible, who makes this steel, and made their own version of the M390. M390 and 20CV are two different steels, but they are the exact same with the you know, the range of strengths and weaknesses. The only difference is that this one's made by Crucible and the other one's not. 20CV and M390, it used to be the go-to steel for very expensive knives, because the edge retention is kind of crazy on them, and that's what a lot of people look for when they buy knives, is a knife that can stay sharp for a very long time. So on to the next one, which is another Microtech knife that I carry. I'm sure you've seen this before. You've probably seen all of these before in my shorts, but if you don't watch my shorts, then these will be a surprise to you. This is a Microtech knife. This one is an OTF, meaning out the front. The blade shoots out and it goes back in, making it a double action OTF knife. There are knives that are a single action, meaning when you hit forward it shoots out, but you have to manually push it back into the handle. This one's not the case. This one I got at Blade Show down here in Texas, and I am super happy with it. This is the Microtech Dirac. There's my serial number, which is 777, which I thought was pretty cool. A lucky knife right here. So instead of titanium, the metal that is used for this casing of the handle is actually aluminum. It is black, very nice. It is a OTF knife, so the lock is very well. The knife lock is very good. It's not gonna go anywhere, but it is a double-edged blade. So you have to be very careful when deploying this. It's also illegal in a lot of states to carry this around, but not here in Texas. Boy, we can carry a katana if we want, and I do have katanas. This knife in particular comes with a window breaker in case you're in a case of a worst case scenario. Yeah, I said that. And the button, the switch here is very, I mean, they're the same company, so it's the same little X that they have here on the other Microtech knife that I carry. The steel on this, oh there it is, I knew the name was on it somewhere, Dirac Delta, the bigger version. The DE means double edge. This one is a M390 also, but I do not see, oh there it is, right there. This one is an M390 steel also. This was before they made the deal with Crucible to add the MK to it. So while we are on the subject of OTF knives out the front, let's go to my other one, which is highly illegal in a lot of states. This is a gravity knife, and an OTF meaning the knife goes out the front. Gravity knife meaning gravity is what deploys this knife and retracts this knife. There is a little lock right here. Pull that down, and it is now unlocked, and this part of the handle can slide. And if you look right here, this little pill-shaped, tic-tac-shaped bit of steel, that is the blade. So when I open it and point it down, gravity pulls it down and out. And then when I close it, it kind of catches that tic-tac and locks it into place, so the blade is not going to go anywhere. If you want it to go back down, you have to open this again, flip it the other way, and gravity takes it down. With that, you know, mechanic, this blade is very fun. And then you can lock it, ain't going anywhere. Unlock it, fly it out, lock it again, it's not gonna go back in. Very nice knife. This steel is 3V, or CPM 3V. This is usually a tool steel made for tools like hammers and pliers and stuff like that, because it's very strong. Hard to break, which I don't really think is a good choice for this knife in particular, but it is what it is. And this is actually the second version. The first version that I got is right here. So here's a little fun bit that I don't have to do for this video, but I'm gonna do anyway. This is the original one that they created. I am sorry, I did not tell you what the maker is. The maker of this knife is Reate, right there, R-E-A-T-E. It's called the Exo, or the Exoskeleton. They have many different versions of this. You have the Exo, the original Exo, you have the Exo, I think this is the Exo-M, which has the lock. And then they have a new one that they just released, which I do plan on getting. It's a little box cutter Exo, made of aluminum, so it's a lot cheaper and more affordable than these two, because these are very expensive. This right here works the exact same way as the pocket lock one. This one has a pocket clip. The original did not. It came with a little leather pouch that you would put on your belt, and it would sit in there. but this one does not have a lock, so the only thing locking this blade into place is your grip on the handle. But it is a very fun knife to play with, which, don't play with knives, guys. Just had to say that so that way I don't get in trouble for that. But yeah, here's the original. I don't carry this one because it's hard to find. They don't make this anymore. It was the first model, so I just keep that to show people when they come over. This one I carry around because it has a pocket clip and a lock, making it a more safe carry than that one. All right, moving on to the next one. This right here is a Winterblade company. This knife and all Winterblade knives are kind of hard to get a hold of because they only go up for pre-order and then they sell out, and then it takes them like 3 months to build the knives and ship them. What makes Winterblade Knife Company so special is they work with magnets. A lot of the knives that they create and will continue to create will be magnet powered or magnet locked. This right here is an M-lock because it's a lock that works with magnets. The handle on this is carbon fiber and titanium. On both sides, it has this really cool looking futuristic pocket clip, and this right here is how you deploy it. It is deployed both with magnets, gravity, and your flicking. But if you were just to have this in hand and pull this button down, it'll open itself through magnets. As you know, a magnet is a negative and a positive. If a positive and a positive come in contact, they repel each other. That's how this works. Right now there's a magnet down here and a magnet up here that are holding this blade down and in place. As I let go of the lock and push it down, like that, it's no longer holding the blade closed, and the magnet repels against another magnet in here, thus swinging it open. And there is the magnet on the blade. It's hard to tell, but the magnet in the handle is in there, and then this lock is a magnet. But yeah, so it can open itself and you can close it using gravity. It is a very fidgety knife, and that is mainly what I use it for, is for fidgeting. It has a deployment hole, again, not like Spyderco, because knife companies know not to imitate that and they make their own. But this works in so many ways, like you have no idea. This knife is a very fun fidgety knife. So the steel on this one, wouldn't you believe, it is M390. Yep. A lot of the knives that are premium are M390. I wish they would do some other steels like Maximed or MagnaCut or S90V. But you know, it is what it is. And yeah, this knife is called the Mirage. I keep forgetting to tell you the names of these knives. But yeah, super fidgety, like very fidgety. On to the next one. This right here is a Demko knife. This is called the Demko AD20.5. Demko is the name of the creator. He made his own American-made version. This one's made in Taiwan, but the American-made one is a full-blown custom. It's much bigger than this one. I'll show you, I'm sure I'm showing you a picture of it right now. It is called the AD20. What makes this knife very cool and very unique is the lock mechanism. The lock mechanism on these knives. It's called the shark lock. It looks like a shark fin right here, and you pull it down like that. And when you pull it down, the metal pulls away from the core of the pivot, and just like the compression lock, it goes into that hole that's in the core of the blade. Very fidgety knife as well, as you can see. What? So after the AD20 did really well and was very expensive, when I say expensive, I mean like $700 to $1,200 expensive. They teamed up with, I don't know what OEM, but they ended up making a production version, which is this smaller, thinner, more pocket-friendly version, AD20.5. This one I have here is an exclusive one. It is carbon fiber, as you can tell by the handle. And it is, I got a bead on it, a titanium bead on this one. And the blade shape, they call it a... I have stuff on this one because I use my knives. They call this a shark's foot. It's really a sheep's foot, but because it uses the shark lock, it's a shark foot. Their own custom blade shape. And like usual, there is a deployment hole and a thumb stud if you prefer the thumb stud deployment. I don't. I prefer the hole deployment if you haven't noticed by my carry. All of them have pretty much holes. The steel on this one is S35VN, which you can see right there. This is made in Taiwan. and it is very comfortable in hand. It melts in the hand. It has a finger choil up here if you want to climb up for more precise cutting, like most of my knives have. There is jimping right here for your thumb, and yeah, very fidgety, very nice, and it's actually a very strong lock that Demko designed. Alright, moving on to the next one. This right here is probably the most affordable knife in this group. This is about an $80, $70 knife if you get the normal version. But me, I always gotta go a step ahead and get a better version. I've shown this in a few of my videos. This right here is a Civivi knife. Civivi is a knife brand that's based out in China, but just because it's made in China doesn't mean it's bad. In fact, I think China companies in production knife making, they're running the market right now. They're probably the best option when it comes to budget and affordable knives that are really good. But this is the Civivi Vision FG. The company Civivi is a branch of their bigger company called We, like W-E, We. And We Knives makes very expensive luxury premium knives like the Vision, which I'll post a picture of right here. A very nice knife with a few problems, like the pocket clip is in an awkward position, and the lock mechanism keeps falling out whenever you pull on it too hard. So they made a budget version with a better pocket clip. This is a aftermarket one. This is flamed titanium. But the pocket clip that it comes with is better than the weird awkward one. It also comes with this little pin right here that keeps the lock from falling out like the original one had. And it's made with cheaper materials like G10. This is a ivory version, and the steel that it comes with is Nitro V. I have a Damascus blade though, so it is not Nitro V. I'm not really sure what kind of steel it is because they don't really tell you besides the fact that it's Damascus. But nonetheless, this knife can cut and retains an edge for longer than I would have expected it to. But if you get the Nitro V one, the edge retention on Nitro V is really good. If I can find what steel this is, I will put it down here like I have been with the other ones. So like the Demko Shark Lock, this has its own version called the Super Lock, and it has a little window right there so you can see. Let me get something that is white. Here, we'll do this deck right here. It has a little window right here so you can see the actual mechanism work, where this metal piece flies into the hole in the pivot. And then you pull it out, and it also pushes it against, which creates the tension for, you know, the action. And this comes with thumb studs, which are very easy to manipulate, like that. And I added a little lanyard. I might put a bead on it at some point, but yeah, this right here is probably the easiest one you can get a hold of if you are wanting a knife from here. And if you are looking for a budget knife and don't want to go over $100, I highly recommend you get this, the Vision FG Civivi. I will put links to all these knives down below if they are available. Alright, and that is my rotation, but I don't only carry one knife with me. I carry two knives with me at all times. I have one which is a rotation knife, and a knife that I carry with me all the time, which is this knife right here. This is not a cheap knife by any measure. This knife is a Chris Reeve knife. Chris Reeve is a very famous knife maker in the community of knives. He's the one that invented this right here called a frame lock, meaning the frame of the handle becomes the lock holding the knife. I'm sure you've seen knives before that have this feature. And this knife is a Sabenza 31. The original one that he made like a long time ago was the Sabenza 21, and then he updated it with this one here, making a adding a ceramic ball to the lock right here, which extends the life of the lock. But this knife is meant to be an heirloom knife. Now don't get me wrong, every knife that I talked about in this video is a life knife, meaning you one and done, you buy that knife and you can use it for life, and you can even hand it down. But this knife is designed to last, and let me tell you, this is a very robust knife. It's gonna take a lot to break this, and they have an outstanding lifetime warranty, so if you do end up damaging this knife in any way, they will take it from you, fix it, and send it back for nothing, no charge. The type of steel that this is an S45VN, which is the upgraded model of this steel right here, the S35VN, which again, both of these steels were invented by Chris Reeve. He wanted to make the perfect steel for everyday carry blades, and he created the S35VN, and then he decided to upgrade it again to the S45VN, which is what this knife is. I have here a right-handed knife. As you can tell by the thumb stud, it's only on one side. You can buy left-handed versions of these, and you can also buy a double stud version, which is really what I wanted, so I can reverse flick it, but it wouldn't have mattered. This kind of knife is designed to be slow rolled. And I can't really tell you how nice this knife feels until you have it in hand. But yeah, this is my go-to backup knife because this knife will never break, or at least it shouldn't break. It's a perfectly designed, and the makers over there at Reeve, their machines are, calibrated to get aerospace tolerances on these knives. So they are very smooth, very buttery, and they do not have any wiggle room at all. Yep, that is probably my favorite knife, which, yeah, I mean, obviously I carry it all the time. I have a little bead on this one. Fun fact, the actual bullets in this revolver bead come out. Let me see if I can pull it out real quick so I can show you. Look, see? The bullet. Yeah, they're little bullets. It's pretty cool. And then you just slide it in, and it has a little O-ring on the edge right there that keeps it locked in the revolving bead. And I got the gold bullets because it matches the gold accessories and hardware that is on this knife. And there you have it. There is my rotation of knives that I carry every day. I don't carry all of these every day, obviously, but these are the knives that I go through. Besides this one, I do carry that one every day. These are the knives that I rotate through on a daily basis, maybe even a weekly basis. There are some knives that I carry for a whole week. And I'm missing one, hold on. All right, there we go, that's all of them. If you are interested in buying any of these or seeing the price of them, I will put a link down below in the description. Some of these might be hard to get. Like, I'm pretty sure the Exo-M is a tough one to get, and obviously the Winterblade knives are always hard to get, but I think he might have a pre-order up for a newer model. I'll put the websites to them down below if I can't find a link or a direct link to the knife. Thank you very much for watching, and I can't wait to see you. That's not gonna work here, is it? Thanks for watching. Stay sharp.